Hope you are very well by the grace of Allah. Alhamdulillah, I am also fine. Today, we are going to learn a very important topic. And the topic is about transformational sentences. This class is basically for the students of class 6, but hopefully the students of upper classes will also be benefited from this class. Hopefully, you will be with me till the very end of this tutorial. So let's start the class. First of all, we have to know what transformation is, right? Look at the board. Transformation of a sentence is all about changing its form or its structure without changing its meaning. Let me explain. In case of transformation, you may have to add, remove or replace some words, but make sure that the meaning does not change. If somehow the meaning is changed, you have to realize that there is something wrong. Today we are going to learn how to transform an affirmative sentence to a negative one. But for that, we need to know what affirmative and negative sentences are, right? Have a look. An affirmative sentence always expresses positive ideas, and no negations like not, no, never, nobody, etc. are used in an affirmative sentence. For example, me is a very good girl. You see, there is no negation in this sentence, and it expresses positive idea. On the other hand, a negative sentence expresses negative ideas. Negations like no, not, nor, never, nobody, etc. are always used in a negative sentence. Okay? Let's have an example. Arafat is not a bad boy. So, let's move on to our main discussion. Transformation of sentences, affirmative to negative. For that, we have to follow some rules, because rules will make it easier for us to transform any sentence. Okay? Hopefully, you are listening to me very, very carefully. First rule with the quote only. If you see the word only in an affirmative sentence, you have to replace it by none but for person, nothing but for thing, and not more than or not less than for number. Let me explain. If only is used before a person, you have to use none but instead of only. If only is used before a thing, you have to use nothing but instead of only. And if only is used before a number, then you have to use not more than or not less than instead of only according to the meaning, because you always have to make sure that the meaning doesn't change, because we know if somehow the meaning is changed, there will be something wrong in our sentences, right? Okay, let's have some examples. Now look at the examples. Number 1, only no one has made it. Here you can see only is used before a person, no one, right? So we have to use none but instead of only according to the rule. Let's do it. None but no one has made it. See, only we have to change the word. Instead, we have to write none but. Okay? Number 2. I have bought only a bat. Here we can say a bat is a thing, right? And only is used before a thing. So we have to write nothing but instead of only. Okay? I have bought nothing but a bat. And the next one, Noel had only 3 pants. You can see that here only is used before a number, right? So we have to use not more than or not less than. But we should use the best one to make the meaning perfect, right? I think you can use here not more than. Noel had not more than 3 pants. So students, hopefully these examples will make the first rule easier for you. Now the next rule. If you see must plus verb 1 in an affirmative sentence, you have to replace it by cannot but plus verb 1 or cannot have plus verb in the ing form. So let's have some examples to make the rule more clear to you. We must obey our teachers. Here you can see must. So we know we need to use cannot but or cannot help instead of must, right? Let's do this. We cannot but obey our teachers. And the next one, we must speak the truth. Let's do this too. We cannot help speaking the truth. So students, hopefully you have understood these examples. And let me tell you, you have to memorize both the rules. Sometimes you may have to use them not but, sometimes you may also use them not help. But if you were asked to transform a negative sentence into affirmative sentence, and if the negative sentence is like that, we cannot help speaking the truth, then if you don't know this rule, you may not be able to transform that. So you should know both of them, right? Now let's move on to the next. Rule number 3. If you see both ... and in an affirmative sentence, you have to replace it by not only ... but also to make it negative. Okay? Let's do it with an example. Have a look at the example. Both Arabi and Trisha came here. Here you can see both and in this affirmative sentence. And to make it negative, we need to write not only or not only but also Trisha in here. Here you see we have used not only instead of both and, but also instead of and. Okay? So rule is, if you see everyone, everybody, or every plus noun in an affirmative sentence, you have to replace it by there is no plus noun dot dot but, or there is no plus noun dot dot without. But remember one thing, you can only use there is no dot dot without if have or has is the main verb in that affirmative sentence, or else you cannot use there is no dot dot without. Okay? Let's make these rules more clear with some examples. Have a look at the examples. Everybody loves an honest person. You can see there is everybody in this affirmative sentence. So you have to write there is no dot dot but to make it negative. There is no instead of only, and now got it. There is no only. But loves an honest person. Okay, the next one. Every rose has a thorn. In this sentence, you can see that has is the main verb here. And we have known that if have or has is used as main verb, we need to write there is no plus noun dot dot without. Okay? Let's do this. There is no plus noun goes without a comma. Hopefully you have understood these examples. Let's move on to the next rule. Number 5. If you see as soon as dot dot comma in an affirmative sentence, you have to replace it by no sooner had dot dot than to make it negative. Okay? Let's make it more clear with an example. Have a look at this example. As soon as he saw me, he ran away. Here you can see as soon as is used in this affirmative sentence and comma is also used. So we need to write no sooner had instead of as soon as. And then instead of comma. Now look at the sentence. No sooner had he seen me than he ran away. Okay. In this sentence, we have to change the form of this verb. Because we know if had is used as an auxiliary verb, we need to write verb 3 after it. I mean verb in the participle form. That is why we have to change the form of this verb. We have to write seen instead of saw. Okay. Our next rule. Sometimes you have to change an affirmative sentence into negative just by using not and an opposite word. Let me make it clear for you with an example. Look at this example. Ria is a good student, right? So we have to write Ria is not. Okay? And an opposite word. You know that Ria is a good student. Ria is not a bad student. You can see that the meaning is still the same. In these kind of sentences, sometimes you may need to use the opposite word of an adjective, sometimes the opposite word of an adverb, and sometimes the opposite word of a verb as well. You just have to find the best one according to the meaning. Okay? If you practice more and more, this rule will not be that much difficult. Our next rule is, if you say always in an affirmative sentence, you have to replace it by never and an opposite word. Okay, let's make this rule clear for you with an example. Look at this example. He always respects his parents. Now you can see always, so we have to write never instead of it. We need never and the opposite word. In the previous rule, we have learned that sometimes we may have to use the opposite word of an adjective, sometimes of an adverb, and sometimes of a verb as well. So respect, the opposite word of it is disrespect. He never disrespects his parents. And the meaning still remains the same. Okay, let's move on to the next rule. Rule number 8. If the affirmative sentence is universal truth, or if there is no way to change it into negative, then you have to make it negative interrogative. Have a look at this example. The earth is round. Now, we all know that earth is round, so it's an universal truth. And we've learned that if an affirmative sentence is universal truth, we cannot make it negative. We have to make it interrogative, a negative interrogative. Have a look. Isn't your earth round? And don't forget to use question mark. When you learn the transformation of interrogative sentences, this rule will be very, very easier. Dear students, that's all for today. I just hope you have enjoyed my class and you have understood what I said. There are some more rules of transformation from affirmative to negative, but for learning those rules, you have to learn other grammatical parts as well. So we will try those rules next time. But I hope you will practice these rules at home a lot. Your homework will be added at the end of this video. You have to practice those too. Let me tell you one more thing. I could have made this tutorial in another time, but instead I have made this video in English version. It's because our main purpose is to learn English, right? And at the first, maybe it may look a little difficult for you, but when you watch and rewatch this video for a number of times, it will be more easier to understand for you. And another thing, you have an item in English first paper, speaking and listening English. I hope this video tutorial will also help you for that lesson as well. So that's all for today. We'll meet again, hopefully, in another class. But till then, you have to stay safe, stay healthy, and always try to be careful in every one